Navigating COVID while protecting yourself can be difficult. Fortunately, there's a hotline you can call with any questions. The Department of Indian Work St. Paul partnered with the Minnesota Department of Health to open the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. They provide information on vaccines, booster shots, and testing sites. Right now, booster shots are available to anyone over the age of 18 for those who are eligible. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline can also help with housing, food, medical, and educational support. If you or someone you know has questions about COVID-19, vaccinations, booster shots, or testing, please call 651-304-9986. Again, the number is 651-304-9986. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline is open for calls Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline at 651-304-9986.
Stay healthy all year long and protect yourself, your loved ones, and your community by getting vaccinated against COVID-19. COVID-19 vaccines are safe, effective, and free, and approved for everyone over the age of 5. Wear a mask outdoors, in crowds, and indoor settings, and lay low or get tested before visiting family and friends or attending events. To get more tips, schedule your vaccine, or get tested, visit ramseycounty.us/COVID vaccine. That's ramseycounty.us/COVID vaccine.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Hey, Olgama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies tonight with a low around 65. Wednesday showers and storms with a high near 76. And Thursday sunny with a high around 83. Grab a tray of Cafe Latte's Cafeteria and select from a wide variety of sandwiches, salads, and soups. The bakery features fresh baked breads, cupcakes, and more, while the pizza and wine bar has gourmet pizzas that pair perfectly with their 30-plus wines by the glass. Located off Victoria and Grand at St. Paul or at cafelatte.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up. They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut again.
Because all the these are trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with
and also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake. Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Kadagi, to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. We discuss local and national Native news and events. And as you know, Wendy, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Native Roots Trading Post. We are having an event there this Thursday, June 16th from 3 to 5:30. It's called Music for the Movement.
Yeah.
We are collecting donations. We're going to have live music. We're going to have some food. And what this is we are supporting the funds that we get are going to support the defendants facing charges for standing against the construction of Line 3 tar sands oil pipeline. So it's really, really important. Again, join us on this Thursday, June 16th from 3 to 5:30 at the Native Roots Trading Post. We're located at 700 Nicollet Mall, and we're on the first floor of the Dayton's building.
Hey, I just appreciate that, Wendy, and it's great to support these people that got arrested, and it's just craziness. So hopefully people come down there and listen to some good music, buy some products, and donate some money.
Bring a friend.
Yeah. Hey, we're going to have Nancy Beaulieu on later, and she's going to be talking about the Firelight anniversary, that great thing that we, event or, I was going to say action, but I can't talk, but I do have a radio show. And then I want to give a shout out to Sean Sherman too, Wendy, with the Onami sous chef, the restaurant. We've been there. And before we get to the news too, I also want to give a quick shout out to Mike Crudy, who was on Fox News, and let him have it. And Mike, we're broadcasting Devil Radio in Madison and Milwaukee, and he's has his show Devil Radio on there too. So we're just really proud to be a part of that family. And one last thing before we get to, I was going to say Ogama, but Gina, and June 16th is the opening for Rutherford Falls, and we just had that great interview yesterday. You can watch yesterday or listen to yesterday's show. And then Thursday we're going to have another interview. There was two interviews yesterday of 4 of the stars, and we're really excited to be part of that family too. So without any further ado, let's get it to Gina with the news. Welcome, Gina Peltier.
Hey, bonjour, everyone. So today I am in Cass Lake on Leech Lake Reservation, and as Robert and Wendy and I were just saying, it's 79 degrees here. And what is the temperature where you guys are at?
It's like 90.
Holy, that's pretty crazy. It's quite the difference. Yeah, and we just had some crazy weather too. Like just about 15 minutes ago, it got really, really dark. And hey guys, I'm so sorry. I'm not sure if you can hear me, but I can't hear y'all.
Yeah, go ahead. Our computer crashed, but we're on StreamYard still, so go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I'll just jump right into it then. So I want to give a big old shout out to Nathan Wright at Herbal Lodge. 2 years ago, I was ran over by a Bemidji police officer while doing nothing wrong, but he sent me some Minigan natural pain relief topical ointment. Oh my goodness, this stuff works. Oh my gosh. And I absolutely love it because, I've been using the Voltaren and the Icy Hot and all this other stuff. And this stuff works as soon as you put it on. And the one thing I do love about it is I'm always on the go. I'm always traveling. So with this stuff, I love being able to put it on and then not having to worry about washing my hands because I touch my face and my eyes a lot. And when I use the other stuff, I have to be really careful because if you get it in your eyes, it stings. But I'll be putting the link to that here in the chat on the next break. But, big shout out to Nathan Wright and his natural organic ingredients. I mean, this stuff's great. And I had to give a big old shout out. It really, really works. So, one thing I would like to bring up, though, is an article that was released by the Healing Minnesota Stories on June 10th. It talks about the devastating Enbridge Line 3 public safety escrow account that paid out more than $8.5 million to the law enforcement that provided protection and what amounts to private security for its pipeline. And that number is up from nearly $7.2 million that was reported in March. The Minnesota Public Utilities Commission approved the outlandish system that allowed law enforcement agencies to bill Enbridge for any Line 3 related costs. Line 3 critics felt the system biased law enforcement in favor of Enbridge. So law enforcement agencies could bill for routine patrols on Enbridge work sites, even if there was no protests going on or even anybody present. So law enforcement fell hard on Native American water protectors. The Enbridge funded escrow account had an independent manager, and law enforcement agencies had an April 1st deadline to submit reimbursement requests to the escrow account, 6 months after the Line 3 became operational. So the single largest recipient of Enbridge's largest of this money was the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources, which was supposed to be regulating and overseeing Line 3's construction. The DNR received nearly $2.2 million in escrow payments for its conservation officer's response to Line 3 resistance, which is just, I'm just flabbergasted because DNR should have been protecting Minnesota's land and water, and here they were protecting a foreign corporation who was damaging and destroying the land and water. The Minnesota Department of Public Safety received $1.5 million from the account. And, our law enforcement were paid by a foreign corporation to help that foreign corporation destroy our water and land. And, our law enforcement were paid mercenaries. And we saw firsthand how they beat on us peaceful, nonviolent water protectors who are risking our lives and our freedoms to save everyone's water. Like Nancy Beaulieu is going to come up and talk about Camp Firelight, and I love Nancy so much, and I'm so excited for this. I could talk about Camp Firelight forever. But we saw with both Nancy and I getting arrested for praying that, our law enforcement was just looking to get that money, and they weren't looking to do their jobs. We weren't supposed to get arrested for praying. That's against their constitutional rights and our treaty rights and all that stuff. So I'm going to drop a link to that article in the chat as well. But I do like to say that Honor the Earth is still continuing the fight. And this weekend, we do have the Shell River reunion happening at the Shell River Campground. And I'm excited for this event. Honor the Earth is asking people to come and join them this weekend. And one weekend in July and one weekend in August, if you guys can. There will be tours giving that Honor the Earth has going on to show what we got going on at the hemp farm. I'm a big supporter of the hemp and Winona's hemp and everything that Winona is doing. I'm so excited, Winona the Duke. So you guys, please, if you can, come on out and camp with us. And I'll drop the link to that event in the chat as well. And then tomorrow, also, Honor the Earth is hosting a free Annie Humphrey concert in Grand Rapids, Minnesota at the McCrosty Arts Center starting at 7 p.m. Annie Humphrey is a singer, artist, and Leech Laker. She is working with Honor the Earth and community members to stop the destructive Huber Frontier Industrial Plant. It's a 750,000 square foot wood processing plant in Cohasset. You guys, and I got a lot to talk about, but I'm so excited to be having Nancy on and talk about Camp Firelight.
Or we definitely are too, right, Wen?
Oh, absolutely. Sorry for the technical difficulties. We had a computer crash here a little bit ago.
Right on. Hey, Gina, stick on. This is Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and up next, Nancy Beaulieu, Bemidji 350.
Stay with us.
Hey, Wendy, what are we doing for dinner after the show?
How about we go to J. Selby's on 169 Victoria Street in St. Paul? They have a delicious plant-based menu that's compassionate and environmentally sustainable.
I'm getting their spot-on vegan Big Mac, the dirty secret.
You can pick up and they deliver within a 5-mile radius, or you can call them at 651-222-3263 or visit jselbys.com.
Well, you sold me, Wen. Let's go order at J. Selby's tonight.
I'm hungry.
I heard sex trafficking happens a lot in Indian country. What is that?
Here are some of the real reasons why sex trafficking happens in Indian country. Unequal gender roles that were forced on us by colonization. Communities don't have enough resources. Silence around domestic and sexual violence. Lack of attention and justice for missing and murdered Indigenous people. There's a lot of behavior that keeps our communities out of balance. These are just a few true reasons why Native communities are targeted by traffickers. When these acts of violence happen in our communities, it opens us all up for exploitation.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, Olgama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Are you nervous to go to your mailbox and see one more past due mortgage bill? You could qualify for financial assistance through Home Help MN if you have fallen behind on your mortgage payments due to the pandemic. This Minnesota housing program even has money available to help with other past due mortgage-related expenses. Learn more at homehelpmn.org or call 1-800-388-3226.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by MN350, a grassroots organization fighting for climate justice.
Well, hey, we got Nancy Beaulieu on the phone here, and we are like celebrating a anniversary with Nancy, and I want to get Nancy on right away. Gina's here. She wants to stick around and celebrate with you too, Nancy, for a segment. So welcome, Nancy Beaulieu of Bemidji 350 and MN 350.
Well, bonjour, and it's always an honor to hang out with my sister and yourself, Robert, and all of our listeners here at Native Roots Radio. And yes, today marks 1 year later. We occupied an easement near the LaSalle State Park, just probably 20 minutes away from my hometown here, Bemidji, Minnesota. And so this last week, I've been reflecting on all the love and the inspiration and the good work that we continue to do. So last week I shared a story, and this week I want to share another story. But I just want to say a big Chimik-witch first to all of our elders, our spiritual leaders, our treaty keepers, our relatives, our allies. I'm going to thank them from the bottom of my heart for being courageous and standing with us at Camp Firelight for those 8 days, because without that, Robert, we would have been cuffed and stuffed within hours. But then again, it was our allies giving that little extra protection and amplifying our story that we're going to write together on the new future that we're going to create, where we all can thrive together.
Yeah, that's awesome. So let's talk to people that are listening to the show for the first time. We had an action, a large action, and then the day of the action, we had over, I'd say, 2,000 people up in the deep north, marching in a good way. And then you guys broke off after a few speeches and started Camp Firelight.
Correct. And it all started with the treaty people gathering in Waban, Minnesota, and that was June 4th through the 7th. And our elders and our treaty keepers shared the knowledge of the treaties and what it looks like to be a good treaty person and how to stand in solidarity in a good way. So for those 3 days, we were in blistering hot heat, building on treaty relationships and inspiring each other to be courageous and make that. When we stand together, we don't stand alone. So those first 3 days were in Waban, and then on that Monday, the 8th, or the 7th, we headed over to the headwaters, and we marched, we sang, and Jane Fonda even joined our company, and so did Bill McGibbon, the founder of 350.org. It was a beautiful space, and I want to say a big shout out to Tom Goldtooth of IEN, and Bob Shimmick of Red Lake, who resides in White Earth. He brags about being a lifelong White Earth resident, so I had to throw that in there. But Michael Lane, a bunch of other elders, I just can't think of all the names on top of my head, but without their guidance, I don't think we would have done it in the best way that we could have done it. So again, we were reminded that we're here in peace and be nonviolent, show them what peace looks like. And that's exactly what we did, Robert. For those 8 days, we showed the whole world what it looks like to stand in solidarity in the most peaceful, powerful kind of way. And that's what I'm hanging on to.
Yeah, it's a great feeling. I wonder if Gina wants to jump in here, because she was a big part of that too with you.
Yeah, I learned what community really looks like. It was quite a scary yet beautiful experience, because we had this possibility of law enforcement coming at us at any time, yet being in Camp Firelight, everyone was so concerned about everyone else's well-being, making sure, did you drink your water? Did you get enough rest? Do you have food? Are you okay? What's going on? And I really learned what true leaders look like. And Nancy, thank you so much for your guidance and what you did during that time and what you're still continuing to do, pushing forward and pushing those narratives and holding people accountable and talking about treaties and letting everyone know that we are treaty people and we all need to live as good neighbors. I mean, even though it was a scary time, I had like one of the best times of my life. I've met so many amazing people. I'm so flabbergasted that, you know, I could be so scared yet so humble and appreciative. And you know, like I tell people before getting into this Line 3 battle full time, I didn't have any friends. I was very introverted and I loved staying at home and I didn't like people. I really didn't. And coming into this, it's just like there are so many beautiful people in this world. You know, if we really put our minds to it, we can live well. And I fell in love with so many people, and I'm grateful for the experience and the leadership and the guidance from you, Nancy, as well. Thank you so much.
Oh, Gina. Yeah, she's my sister that, you know, is always there when we need her. And without Gina, I don't think, you know, we could have did what we did as well, because Gina, she did a lot of things behind the scenes that most of us didn't see. And the rest of us were busy doing meetings and meeting with our elders and making sure that, you know, everybody was there in a good way. And I also want to give a chiimikwich to the sheriff of Clearwater County, Darren Halverson, and he totally supported our occupation for those 8 days. We controlled the narrative. We maintained his sole authority. We held back the Northern Lights Task Force a couple times by doing so. And it all comes from that summit that was held in Clearwater County a few years back. It was a treaty summit where we called on the sheriff and the city council members, the county commissioners, and some local leaders to come and listen to what treaties are and how we're all treaty people and how we have an inherent right to protect all that is sacred. And when Line 3 comes, this is what we're going to do, and we expect you to respect that, if not expect resistance. And, you know, our resistance was done in prayer, it was done in ceremony, and it was built out of love and all that good vibes that we had out there. And again, you know, like Gina mentioned, it was a bit scary a couple times, but it only made us stronger, and we were kind of fearless, but that was only because we were living on love and the passion to protect the water, the wild rice, and each other.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gina, I got to meet you, I think, for the first time in around that time too, and your brother. And it's you know, during these actions, I feel like it's a celebration too. And I think you caught that feeling too, right, Gina?
Yeah, I did. And, you know, just one thing I want to mention too is while we were there, at Camp Firelight, we all, you know, drank the water out of the Mississippi and we swam in it, and there was fish and there's critters and frogs and it was so beautiful to see all that wildlife and habitat. And then, you know, less than a month later, after Firelight, Enbridge fracked out into the Mississippi River and our fish developed blisters. And even currently right now, if you go to the same spot, there's no fish or wildlife in that area. So it's just a true testament to what Enbridge is doing to our land and our water. It was perfectly fine. And then within less than a month later, it's completely destroyed.
Yeah, it's the destruction continues, and you know, there's still a legal fight for the Line 3, and actually some of us are still defendants a year later. And you know, I'm always going to hold it dear in my heart that I'm never going to surrender. Treaty rights are not a crime, and they should never be tried as a crime. So we're going to continue, Robert, just to, you know, creating more space and asserting our treaty rights. And we're going to do that together as treaty partners and continue to write our stories. So Firelight was just only the beginning of a new future that we're going to write together. And we're calling on more of our relatives and our allies to join our space, our beautiful community that we created through the love of all living things. And I look forward to showing up for, other things that need our protection because, Robert, it's just not a pipeline. It's more than a pipeline. It's about our treaty and all the treaties across Turtle Island and our self-determination and our right to make those choices. And when we say no, we mean no. And, the genocide hasn't stopped, point blank. It's still here. And like Gina mentioned earlier, we have law enforcement bought out by a foreign corporation. And what's really sad is, many Minnesotans are not paying attention to the threat of our clean water. And our tourism in Minnesota has a value of $18 billion. And I don't think Enbridge is willing to ensure our livelihoods. And so we really need to do some research as Minnesotans and figure out what our priorities are and what we're going to do. Because, this is our livelihoods at stake. We just don't do this for our way and our monomen. We also do it for our treaty allies, those that depend on water. Everything depends on water, even that little tiny itty bitty red spider. I don't know if you've ever seen one of those little tiny red spiders, but I was just talking about how delicate life is. And, we even protect that little bitty spider.
Hey, Nancy, stay with us. And Gina, thanks for hanging on a little longer for the celebration. Really appreciate it and appreciate all you do for the water and for us here at Native Roots Radio and stepping in. Really appreciate you. Hold on, Nancy. We got more to talk about. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake.
Stay with us.
We'll be right back.
Hey, Olgama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Hello, Minnesota. This is Tom Hartman, and you can catch me every weekday from 11 to 2 right here on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. It's smart radio for smart people.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. Even though Auto Technical is a small nonprofit, we have helped more families with transportation than any organization in Minnesota. Since '94, we have reconditioned donated vehicles so they have a higher tax benefit. Call Richard at 612-919-5526, 612-919-5526, or autotech.org.
Seward Co-op is now offering convenient self-serve and prepackaged hot options and salad bars at both the Franklin and Friendship stores. Breakfast items available daily until 11 a.m. and brunch served all day every Sunday. Their weekly lunch and dinner menus highlight cuisines from around the world. They offer vegan, vegetarian, and gluten-free options daily. 95% of the ingredients used are organic from small-scale, local community food producers whenever possible. More at seward.coop.
Taking prescription medication should not be a scary task. The staff at St. Paul Corner Drug makes certain you know everything about your prescription medication before you leave the pharmacy. Knowing what to expect and when and how to take your prescriptions gives you the confidence to safely take your medication and maintain good health. Should additional questions arise, we are here to help sort things out. St. Paul Corner Drug, pharmacy the way it should be, at stpaulcornerdrug.com.
Warmer weather is here, and that means it's time for home improvement projects. If you're planning a remodel or property upgrade for your home or business, switching to solar energy should be part of your project, and All Energy Solar can help. Most home improvement projects don't pay for themselves until the property is sold, but switching to All Energy Solar is an investment that can actually pay for itself even if you don't sell your property. In fact, after 30 years of operation, solar energy could pay back 300 to 400% of the cost. Plus, a system from All Energy Solar is built to last, not just for years, but decades. Most systems from All Energy Solar come with a 25 to 30-year warranty. So make your home improvement project a better investment that can last and pay for itself by switching to All Energy Solar. Get a free, no-obligation assessment from All Energy Solar by calling 800-620-3370 or visiting allenergysolar.com. That's allenergysolar.com.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies tonight with a low around 65. Wednesday, showers and storms with a high near 76. And Thursday, sunny with a high around 83. Grab a tray of Cafe Latte's Cafeteria and select from a wide variety of sandwiches, salads, and soups. The bakery features fresh baked breads, cupcakes, and more, while the pizza and wine bar has gourmet pizzas that pair perfectly with their 30-plus wines by the glass. Located off Victoria and Grand at St. Paul or at cafelatte.com.
This is Winona LaDuke of Honor the Earth, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio. I'm Awake.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Native Roots Trading Post. We are having a special event this Thursday, June 16th, called Music for the Movement, and this will benefit it's a benefit event for the Line 3 Legal Defense Fund. It's going to be from 3 to 5:30. And again, we're at 700 Nicollet Mall in downtown Minneapolis on the first floor of the Dayton's building.
Hey, we are here with Nancy Beaulieu of Bemidji 350, and we're talking a little bit about the past, and also hopefully we'll talk a little bit about the future here too. Are you there, Nancy?
Yes. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, I can.
All right. So, Robert, I want to take about 3 minutes and share a story I wrote about Firelight, and I just wrote it this morning. I woke up, feeling the love and kind of missing the community that was out there. And I know we're still here, but like Gina mentioned before, it was just something that you just can't explain unless you were there in that space with us. But we'll never forget Firelight. And I just wanted to spend about 3 minutes sharing my story. And I hope you're okay with that.
I'm really okay with that. Really, really okay with that. And as long as you mentioned me in your story. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, so give us the title and go for it.
All right. Camp Firelight, held June 7th through the 14th, 2021. So today, again, marks the 1 year exit that 51 of us were cited. There was one arrest, but this is our story. We occupied the Line 3 easement on private property for 8 days near the LaSalle State Park. Amazingly, the landowner never asked us to leave. That speaks volumes. The landowner knew we were good people. I believe he supported us but could never admit it. Yes, he was hateful and scary at times. Regardless his tactics, we stood strong, treaty style. He actually spoke to that. He said we were courageous for not leaving. I spoke to him for 15 to 20 minutes during our exit of the easement. He actually has a heart. Believe it or not, Robert, he does. He admitted he almost came down to join us. And that was the night he was shooting off his firearm. He should have, and he would have enjoyed the company, the teachings, and understand our purpose for occupying. Had he joined us, I'm almost sure the community would have made him pay for that, AKA Trump country. I don't think he was ready for that. Anyway, after numerous frackouts on his property, I'm almost sure he regrets allowing Line 3 to run through his property. It's too late. The destruction has begun. We did our best to prevent that. We stood in peace for those 8 days in prayer and in love. We did so in a nonviolent way, and the sheriff was supportive and understood our position. I am grateful for Sheriff Darren Halverson. He is a fine example of how a sheriff should present himself. Today marks 1 year since our exit of the Line 3 easement, and many of us are still defendants. We will not surrender. Asserting our treaty rights isn't a crime and should never be tried like one. Treaties are supreme law of the land, and we're all treaty people. Today brings fond memories of Firelight. The occupation was community. We stood in solidarity as treaty people, as the treaties intended. We were keepers of the 1855 treaty. We'll continue building awareness as we assert our treaty rights. We'll write our story, a future where we can all thrive for many generations to come. Water is life. Miigwech to our allies for being courageous and standing with us. We couldn't have done it without your support. And a special miigwech to James, we called him Jim Parrish, for standing strong with us. He provided mutual aid to the Line 3 front lines. He was a kind and courageous soul. Rest in peace, my friends. Remember, Firelight was only the beginning of a new future we'll build together. Be courageous, stand strong. When we stand together, we don't stand alone. Honor the treaty. Stop Line 3.
Perfect. Yes. Beautiful. And, just a little history of you and Wendy and I in the show. We all started with Standing Rock and protecting the water, and we knew Line 3 was inevitable and going to come up behind us once Dakota Access Pipeline was over.
Right. When I went to Standing Rock, I was actually a nursing student. I was going for my LPN, and I was really concerned about my studies. I did finish that quarter, actually semester, and Line 3 was here. So I sacrificed my clinicals to save the water and protect the 7th generation. And I told myself, I actually asked myself, how can I be a nurse without clean water? So actually, I told my nursing professors that I need to be let go of class. I'll be back someday, I said, but I need to defend homeostasis, the beginning of life.
Oh, wow. That's a good one. Good words. Wendy.
Good choice, really. And how it happened, so quickly. You never know how life is going to, give you twists and turns and just, change your life and, turn it upside down. So I really applaud you, Nancy, for, giving up a nursing career to save the water. It's really something else.
Right.
Yeah, and it's something, I still have regrets, and I do see myself going back. It's not my first time going to college and graduating. I'll be back. And for now, it's really critical that we protect the water, and we see so many big storms coming now and big winds and all these, different, storms that we have no control over. And even right now, our relatives up in Red Lake, they have big storm warnings, and I've never seen our climate act like this, and I've never seen, the birds and everything be affected by how we're living our lifestyles. It's actually ruining the world, and we really need to stop and think about what we can do to live in harmony with Mother Earth. She's our life giver, and that's what most people have lost, their connection to nature, and we're not above it, Robert.
Right. Wendy, we know, through colonization that everybody at one time, whether they were Italian or British or Scottish or Polish, all the ishes, believe the same thing that we do as indigenous people of the North America. And they've been colonized for so long, and we're like at least in North America here, we're the last standing to protect Mother Earth, which is really protecting ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, last week I was talking about what's happening in India right now, in Pakistan, and the heat wave is so horrible there that eagles and birds are just falling from the sky. They can't even fly anymore. They're falling from the sky, and they have rescue organizations helping these birds and these animals that are just like dropping dead on the road because it's so hot and people are just laying on the side of the road because it's just so hot and the water sources dry up and there isn't any way that anybody could get any water, and it's horrible. And people here, in the United States, we're just like, oh, well, we could just go into our air conditioning and just stay there. But then power grids, break and we can't get the air conditioning. And then what are we going to do? Sit in our houses with air conditioning while everything else, the plants, the birds, the animals just all die around us.
Right.
We're not going to be able to come out of the air conditioning
Right.
to anything.
It's June 14th.
And
It's almost 100 degrees here.
Yeah.
In the
right.
Twin
And here in northern Minnesota, I think it's true for the metro area as well, but we are being warned of record-breaking temps this weekend, and our forecaster here on a local note says that we could be expecting triple-digit temperatures, record-breaking temperatures, and from a drought last year to these kind of conditions, creeping back up on us and these strong winds. It's a scary future. And I was telling an ally yesterday, I was like, I don't hear the birds as much as I used to, and I forage for the dandelions in my yard, and I didn't hardly see any of the bumblebees and a handful of dragonflies and butterflies. It's like something doesn't feel right. And as a mama bear, I feel that, it's not hard to notice that we are in an ever-changing world now. And it's because of our human behavior and our need to think that we need to shock till we drop. And that's not who we are. We have to go back to our original instruction and live like a simple man and be grateful for all those gifts that surround us and take care of all living things because we're connected. And Line 3, the Huber Mill, the Talon Mining, all of that is a threat to our water, and not just here because we all know the water flows. And so we're not just here to protect ourselves, we're here to protect everyone along the river and out to the Gulf Coast, and wherever that water goes, we do it for them.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, Nancy, I just really appreciate you stopping in and with that story and also reminiscing with us, because if we're not up there with you, we're definitely following you and following the good work that you do. And, we always get so much positive feedback, whether it's emails or just our live YouTube and Facebook on your work up there. And we know we're watching the great things that you're doing, and you do it in a humble way. So we just want to say, Peeny Gigi, thank you.
All right. And Chimigwich, and I hope that all of our listeners follow Gina and myself out to the Line 5 event on June 25th in Ashland, Wisconsin, and show our relatives some support and be a good treaty person and help amplify our story. So we'll see all your listeners here on the 25th. Miigwech.
Right on. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Nina says here, yes, they used to put birds in the mines, the canary in the coal mine, and this is what's happening right now.
Right.
The birds falling from the sky are the canaries in the coal mine, and we are in the coal mine right now.
Yeah, definitely. I just want to also say, Peeny Nancy, for coming on. She does a great job and speaking her truth, and we'll be heading north too. It's hot here, and it's June 14th. It's like August weather here, and it's very I don't know, Wendy, it's very concerning to say the least.
It is. Somebody else just put up that there are dead butterflies outside my mobile home.
Yeah.
With all the pesticides that we're using, these insects that we need as pollinators aren't going to be here for very much longer.
Well, we're going to talk more about that next segment. You're listening to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and we'll be back with a Wendy pilot in our Sacred Animal section.
Stay with us.
Navigating COVID while protecting yourself can be difficult. Fortunately, there's a hotline you can call with any questions. The Department of Indian Work St. Paul partnered with the Minnesota Department of Health to open the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. They provide information on vaccines, booster shots, and testing sites. Right now, booster shots are available to anyone over the age of 18 for those who are eligible. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline can also help with housing, food, medical, and educational support. If you or someone you know has questions about COVID-19, vaccinations, booster shots, or testing, please call 651-304-9986. Again, the number is 651-304-9986. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline is open for calls Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline at 651-304-9986.
When we heal from our traumas,
when we face our fears,
let go of our addictions,
when we relearn our values,
when we live our teachings,
respecting our elders,
cherishing and honoring our children,
when we honor and take care of our spirit,
there will be no room left for sexual violence.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Bijou. I am Oshawashko Gijig. I'm from Red Lake Nation, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations. Here we go. Robert found the wolf. Woo!
Hey, I want to introduce my awesome and beautiful wife, Wendy. Wendy, we talk about sacred animals and which are our relatives, and I learned so much from your segments each day. And you've been on the show as long as me. You're the co-host, so take it away.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. My name is Hanaji Hihani. That means cares for them. I was given that name by my Dega Curtis. Curtis goes by Mashke Hanajinga, which means walks on white clouds. I'm a humane policy volunteer leader for the Humane Society of the United States, and I work on animal issues at the local and state level, and it's always my pleasure to do that. I'm just going to be talking today. I found a couple of things that I'm going to be mentioning, and because of this heat, I really wanted to talk about animals and how we can help them through this crazy heat wave that we're having. I mean, it's crazy out there right now. We have a 98 degree heat index because of the humidity here. It's really, really hot. And, year after year, I don't think that there has been one summer that I haven't had to say something to somebody because they left their dog in the car. And, right now, especially with the heat the way it is, it's crazy. I mean, the temperatures, even at 70 degrees, in 10 minutes, it can heat up to 89 degrees inside the car, just at 10 minutes. In 30 minutes, if you're out there shopping around and your dog's in the car, 104 degrees. Now, if we just look at the temperatures today, let's say 95 degrees, in 10 minutes, 114 degrees, and in 30 minutes, 129 degrees. Whatever's in the car is going to die. That's for sure with that heat. That's crazy. So leave your dogs and animals at home. Just let them be, stay as cool as possible. I mean, my dog barked and whined at me like 3 times today because she's in the house and she wants to go for a walk. And we do go for a walk every day. And her ear is lifting up as I'm saying the word walk because we usually have to spell it around here. But, I just told her, no, we can't go for a walk today. It's too hot. Of course, she doesn't understand that. And she thinks that I'm being mean. But I also, I also mentioned last week, and I'll keep, just mentioning this, there's a 5-second rule where you put the back of your hand on the pavement. And if the back of your hand gets too hot, then don't take your dog for a walk. It's really too hot for them. If you can walk them them on the grass, then that's good. Anybody watching us on Facebook Live, you could see a picture of our Wanda. She's a little black Shih Tzu. She weighs about 10 pounds, and she's like full of spit and fire, that one. Yeah, she's wanting to go for a walk, but it's just too hot. It really is. But I wanted to, in this morning too, I went out and I put out water. We just keep like it's like a dog bowl of water outside in the backyard, and the squirrels drink it and the rabbits drink it and the chipmunks drink it.
Ducks.
The ducks come and drink it.
They get it dirty because they eat their food with water.
Yeah. So yeah, they do. I'd have to look that up and why they do that. Have I ever looked that up? I can't remember.
Next show.
Okay. I'll have to remember that. But yeah, so I put this big bowl of water out for the animals, and I fill up the bird baths, and we could all do that. All the animals right now need water. So put a pan of water if you can outside. I have a shallow pan with lots of rocks in it so that the insects can stand on the rocks and drink the water because they drowned in there. So you might think that they don't, but they do. But I have it's from the National Wildlife Federation. This is a blog, and it's simple tips for helping wildlife during heat waves and droughts. And we could all do something for our furry little feathery friends out there. Oh, that was the deer that I talked about, who was dehydrated because and you can tell because the tips of the ear are crumpled. If you see a little baby deer and the ears are fine, just leave it alone. But if you see them with the ears crumpled back like that, get them to a rehabilitation center, and please make sure that you mark the exact area where you got this animal so that they could bring them back to the same area. So of course, make a special effort to keep your bird baths full, or think about getting one if you don't have one. This is something we could think about, Robert. I never knew about this, but it's called hang a drip jug. That's what it's called, over your bird bath. Oh, I can't talk. So hang a drip jug over your bird bath, a basic plastic jug filled with water with a tiny hole in the bottom, and the birds will hear the drip and it will attract them for a cool bath and a drink. There are a number of terrific ways to enhance your garden with water features, including misters, bubblers, and more. Sometimes I put the hose on mist and I see a lot of animals come. I might do that later after we hang up the show.
Get that feeder out for the what are they, the hummingbirds too?
Yes, I have to get that out. Yes, I do have to do that. So use water conserving garden practices, such as using generous amounts of mulch to cover your garden beds. This will help the insects, worms, and other vertebrates, the little animals that live in there. Watering plants in your garden will also help keep them healthy, right? But it's also moisture, and the droplets are a favorite for bees and butterflies. So just sprinkling that water on your plants will help those too. And don't forget the hummingbirds, Robert. You just said that. We'll have to definitely do that. They rely on nectar from plants, and summer conditions can dry up natural supplies that a good hummingbird feeder can help replace. You can make your own nectar, and there's ways to look that up, which I usually always do. And you could learn more about taking care of your hummingbird feeders, because I didn't know this, and for years I would just put like the nectar out in the hummingbird feeder and leave it there. But what happens is it can crystallize, and then when the little hummingbirds put their tongue in to get that nectar, it ferments on their tongue and it causes problems, and then they can't make their tongue go in and out of their little mouths, and then they die. So you have to change that nectar like every 3 days, and especially in a heat wave like this, probably every 2 days or every other day. And you could make the mixture and keep it in the refrigerator too. Yeah. So often communities will put watering restrictions in place during times of drought. So there are good times to capture water that might otherwise go to waste. One thing many folks do is put a bucket or two in their shower while you bathe. The bucket fills with drinkable water for wildlife that should otherwise go down the drain. Make sure the soap doesn't get in the bucket. Many communities encourage encourage residents to install backyard rain barrels that gather the rainfall from the roof and store it for drier times like that. I never heard about, getting the shower water with a bucket in there, but
I don't know. I took a shower today, and I don't think I'd want to drink any of that water.
I don't think anybody would want to either. And remember that the garden that has food, water, and shelter for local wild creatures, large or small, would make a terrific shelter for them. And because we kept some of our weeds, I don't know if they're really weeds or not, higher, and we have some of the animals, the bunnies and the chipmunks, kind of hiding out, keeping cool in the shade. Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, and too, a great segment as always, Wendy. As you were speaking, we should check on our elders too in this heat.
Yes, absolutely. Give them a call. Make sure everybody's okay. They're keeping cool and have air conditioning, and they have plenty of water and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, great show today as always. Thank you so much, Wendy Peeney, for your help as always, co-hosting this, and also Gina Peltier with the news, and Nancy Beaulieu checking in, and just being Nancy Beaulieu and celebrating the anniversary of that great action up there in Deep North. Hey, we're still here. We are the seventh generation.
Free Leonard Peltier. Stop line 3.
Hey, Minnesota. I'm Rick Smith, host of The Rick Smith